When you look at Astra Nova today, it's easy to get distracted by the noise. Tiny pumps here, brutal dips there, fear everywhere, and a community still recovering from scars left by the chaos of last October. But sometimes, the most explosive opportunities don't come from the projects that have been perfect, but from the ones that survive the fire, rebuild, and return stronger than anyone expected. And that's exactly why Astra Nova is on my radar for 2026. The first thing that made me look twice was the unusual behavior in the price data. RVV posted a strong 24-hour increase, but when you zoom out to the 30-day and 60-day windows, the chart is still bleeding red. That might scare off beginners, but anyone who understands crypto psychology knows what that actually means. Something recent, something powerful, has shifted momentum. You only see this kind of divergence when new catalysts are fighting against older market trauma. And in RVV's case, those catalysts are not imaginary. They're real, measurable, and hitting the market one after the other. The most concrete sign was the sudden streak of exchange listings. RVV landing on Kraken isn't small news. Kraken doesn't just list random microcaps for fun, they vet heavily, and when they approve, it immediately exposes the token to deeper liquidity and more serious investors. Add the Bielofin listing earlier in November, and you start to see a pattern. The project is clearly trying to reposition itself in front of a wider and more global audience, and historically, the tokens that explode during bull cycles are the ones that complete this type of groundwork before the real hype kicks in. Then there's staking. This is where things get really interesting. In early November, Astra Nova launched a staking program that quietly attracted more than $1.24 million in TVL. That is not a small number for a project that recently took a huge reputational hit. This tells you two things instantly. Holders are willing to lock tokens rather than dump them, and there's enough confidence returning to the ecosystem that people are comfortable committing their RVV long-term. The attractive APY only adds fuel, because high-yield staking does something very important. It chokes supply. It reduces selling pressure, inflates demand, and sets the stage for violent upward moves once the market rotates bullish. Another underrated signal is social momentum. On November 26th, RVV popped into the CoinMarketCap trending list, not because of some artificial campaign, but because real people were searching for it, talking about it, asking questions, and speculating. This type of grassroots attention is how microcaps begin their pre-pump phases. The retail crowd doesn't just discover tokens. They swarm around catalysts, and RVV currently has enough of them to spark continuous curiosity. And let's talk technicals for a moment. The 7-day SMA sits around $0.0047, while the price recently pushed toward $0.00604, a clear sign of upward momentum and short-term breakout structure. RSI 7 at 70.1 hints at overbought territory, which normally screams pullback coming, but in microcap psychology it tells a different story. Buyers are finally overpowering the sellers who dominated for weeks. Overbought conditions in early trend reversal phases often mark the first stage of a much bigger move. RVV is showing exactly that type of energy, volatile, aggressive, and driven by real catalysts rather than empty promises. But let's be honest, this isn't a fairy tale project. RVV went through hell in October. A major hack rattled the ecosystem, slashed the price, and shattered trust among long-term holders. Then came the tokenomics drama, delays, and confusion around refunds. These events still hover over the community, and they absolutely could cap the speed or size of future gains. Anyone pretending these problems don't matter is lying. They matter a lot. Yet, here's the part most people miss. Some of the biggest crypto explosions in past cycles came from projects that first suffered catastrophic crashes, only to rebuild stronger because the people left holding the bag refused to let the project die. When a microcap survives a hack, gets relist, secures new staking TVL, reopens liquidity, repairs tokenomics, and still manages to trend on CMC, you are no longer dealing with a dead project. You're dealing with a rebound story. And rebound stories in bull markets are nuclear if timed right. Even the fear and greed index paints a fascinating picture. The entire market is sitting in extreme fear, yet RVV is moving the opposite direction. When a token pumps while the market panics, it usually means insiders, early believers, or strategic buyers are positioning ahead of something bigger. It means catalysts are outweighing market sentiment. It means accumulation, quiet, steady, and deliberate. So, why do I think Astra Nova could explode in 2026? Because every major bull run creates at least one comeback kid. One project everyone counted out, until the numbers changed. RVV has the ingredients: fresh listings, real staking traction, renewed retail interest, improving short-term technicals, and a community that refuses to leave. And if those long-term issues, trust, tokenomics, stability, get ironed out as the team claims they're doing, then the current prices might look laughably cheap in hindsight. Crypto doesn't reward perfection. It rewards timing, momentum, and asymmetric risk. Right now, RVV sits at the intersection of all three. It's fragile, but also loaded with potential energy. If 2024 and 2025 become the rebuilding phase, then 2026 might be the year the ecosystem finally ignites. And if that happens, the people who paid attention during the fear phase will be the ones telling the story later.